All right, working on a 2012 Dodge Avenger, I believe. It's got 3.6 V6 in it. And he called me and asked me to put a catalytic converter on it. And I got spark plugs because those were in the front seat too. I guess it failed emissions. And it's got a P0430, bank 2, low catalytic efficiency, which usually is a catalytic converter. He had already bought the parts, so I don't even know what brand this catalytic converter is. It doesn't look like a real, looks more like a Chinese or eBay special. So hopefully it fits upright. I've had a lot of trouble with some of these aftermarket catalytic converters fitting upright. Anyway, it's bank 2 on these Chrysler front wheel drive 3.6s. Cylinder 1 is in the back side of the head, or in the back side of the engine compartment, and bank 2 is in the front. So that's actually makes it a little bit easier on these. The bank 2 is a little harder to get to and takes more time, or bank 1 I mean. So we're going to go ahead and do bank 2 today because that's what the code's calling for, and that's the part that he got. So first thing I'm going to do is just pull out the O2 sensors. You could probably unplug those and just take those out as one piece. I just find it easier usually for the car to, when they're bolted in, for the car to kind of hold it while I loosen them, and then makes it easier to try and do it when it's on the workbench or whatever. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take the O2 sensors out. I've already got them unplugged. Just push in on the clip and pull them out. It's pretty simple, straightforward. And then we're going to go and get some tools and start taking them out of the catalytic converter so we can remove the catalytic converter from the car. Alright, again, we're working at the front of the engine here. This is the converter he got. Work at the front of the engine here. This is bank 2 in the front. And we got O2 sensor up here on top of the converter. And then there's one down there. So I've already got them unplugged. You just pull on this tab, or push on the tab and then pull them out. And we're just going to go ahead and take this loose. On the top one here, I got just a regular O2 sensor socket with a long wrench. And we're going to go ahead and take those out. I've already broke this one loose. So this should spin right out. Set your O2 sensor off to the side. Now we got this one down here. I'm going to take the extension off and just get the ratchet down there. Hopefully they'll break loose. Usually these aren't too bad. This car doesn't have, I think this car's got a little under 100,000 on it, so it's 8 years old or 9 years old, but it doesn't have a ton of miles, so it should come out pretty easy. So anyway, I'm going to get my wrench down there. We'll take that out, and then we'll start taking this converter off. So I just got my socket down there, and we're just turning it out. If you don't have one of these O2 sensor sockets, you can get one at the auto parts store. They may rent them to you. If not, they're not super expensive. And all they are is a long socket with a slot in them, so you don't ruin the wiring on your O2 sensor. So that one's broke loose, and I'm just going to take the rest of it out by hand, and then we'll probably get under the car, loosen it from the bottom first, and see what we're dealing with there. The kit did come with new bolts, so if we break the bolts on the bottom there, won't be that big of a deal, but we'll get under there and see what's going on first. Alright, so we're under the car here. You're going to go for this flange right here, and there's two 13mm bolts holding it in. The back side has a nut, and it should be welded to your flange, so you shouldn't have to hold that. And as long as these don't break, they should come right out. And if they break, I guess you just have to put bolt and nut, get a new nut and bolt for it. But these didn't break, luckily, so I'll probably just reuse these same bolts. They're still in pretty good shape. So anyway, once you get that done, we're going to go back to the top and start taking the top of the catalytic converter off. But this is the situation here. And you can see here, this is the bank 1 converter. And there's quite a bit more involved in that one. If you have a problem, if you have a bad bank 1 converter, you're going to be in for a lot more work. Because all this is going to come down and it's way up in there and it's pretty tight. So if you're lucky, you just had the bank 2 here. That's bad, and this is pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Alright, you can see I got the cat out. There's two 10mm bolts that go on the top. You remove those, which is pretty easy to get to. And then there's two on the bottom, but those are just a bracket that holds it. You don't have to remove those. It does make it easier to loosen them up a little bit. The one towards the driver's side is pretty easy to get to. The passenger side, I was able to get to open it in there and loosen it a little bit, but I really didn't take the passenger side out or loosen it very much. And then I got underneath the car and just tapped on the cat. So then I got underneath the car, just kind of tapped right here on the flange a little bit, that pops out. So one thing I noticed right away with this aftermarket cat, there's no heat shield on it, which is kind of a big deal. So I'm going to kind of research it and see what the plan is here. This heat shield will not bolt up to that, so I don't. This is the factory converter. Normally these come with like a little cheap aftermarket heat shield, but it doesn't have anything. And it doesn't even have any of the mounts that you would need to mount one. So I'm not sure what the plan is there yet. There is some instructions in there, but I would highly recommend, if you're going to do this job, to get a good quality aftermarket cat. I had good luck with the Napa cats before. Those are real close to factory and seem to bolt up real nice. Like I said, I don't even know. This is some kind of eBay special or whatever, so I don't even know if this is going to line up the way it should. It appears like it's pretty close, but they can be off a little bit, and then you're spending all afternoon trying to get the line up, or you can't do it. So anyway, I'm going to look into the heat shield on this, and then we're going to start putting it back together. If I can't figure out a way to do it, I'm just going to let him know, he bought a cat without a heat shield, and go from there. I don't, like I said, it's not ideal, but, I wouldn't have bought, I probably would have bought either a Napa cat or looked into maybe a MagnaFlow or something. So anyway, that is what it is. I didn't buy the parts, and I'm getting paid to put them on, so that's what I'm going to do. So, I'll try to figure something out with it, but if I can't, then it's going in the way it is. So we'll pick it back up here in a minute. Alright, so I looked. There's nothing anywhere about the heat shield in this. There's no way to mount one. And if I would try to rig this one up, it's just going to rattle real bad. You can see here on the factory one, there's these mounting points for the heat shields. And, this one's straight from China. Has nothing at all no way to mount any kind of heat shield, and I think if he would try to mount something, it would just rattle. So he's aware of it, he knows it, it's going on in the car. So basically we're just going to slide this back in and put the bolts in, and hopefully it lines up. Like I said, a lot of times these can be off just a little bit and just makes your life miserable, these aftermarket ones. So I'm going to hope for the best now on this. I highly recommend, if you're going to do this yourself, to get a quality one that has, if it doesn't come with the heat shield, a lot of them come with their own heat shield already welded on, but if it doesn't come, at least make sure it's got the mounting points to put one on. So anyway, and get a new gasket down there if you're going to put a new one on. So anyway, we're going to move forward with this. I'm just going to put this on and hope for the best. There's really, you got the fan motors and the AC compressor and alternator is going to get more heat from this than what it should, but I don't know. I was told to put it on, so that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to slide this one in and go from there. Alright, so we had to abort the mission. We were going to install this one. When I left you last time, we were going to install this Chinese one. And the problem is, this flange is straight here. It's not tapered out like it's supposed to be. It's too small for the pipe down there. They did give us a cheap gasket that goes in here, but that's not going to hold it. And then the actual angle of this, how this comes out and around, it's about 2 inches off from lining up with the exhaust. And that's the problem I've always run into with these aftermarket converters, especially the cheap ones. You might be able to make it work. I doubt it. And even if you could, you'd have to probably take it to the exhaust shop and have them finagle it and re-weld pipes, and then you're going to be into as much as you would as a good aftermarket. So I ended up going to O'Reilly's, my guy, and I got this one. And you can see here the flange is the same as the factory. It's real fat, and it doesn't need a gasket. It's just straight on. And it's got all the mounting points for the factory heat shield, so we'll still be able to retain the heat shield, and we won't have the alternator and the AC compressor overheating. Comes with this plug. We'll take this plug out, put the heat shield on, and then we should be able to install this. And this should line up. This is a Dorman 674 120. It's non-carb, so it's a little bit cheaper than the carb compliant converters. California only, we're in St. Louis, so it doesn't matter to us. So anyway, he said he paid about 120 for the cheap one, and this one here might cost, you're looking at about probably 350 or so for the O'Reilly's Dorman one. So anyway, I'm going to transfer the heat shield over, and then we'll see if this thing lines up, and then we'll pick this video back up. Alright, so the Dorman one did go into, everything lined up really well. I haven't started it yet just because I had to do a oil pressure sensor on this and spark plugs. But everything lined up well. It seemed like it sealed up good. Both O2 sensors are in, and the shield's back on. The main thing I would point out on this job, other than getting a quality replacement for it, is you don't have to remove those bottom bolts, but it does help to loosen them a little bit, just to make the converter come in and out more freely. And this front one is very doable for most people. The back one's probably going to be more of a challenge, just because you're going to have to drop the axle and do a lot more getting up in there to get to the bolts and stuff. It's going to be pretty, a lot more challenging. So if you have a bank 2 issue on a Chrysler, you're in good shape. If it's a bank 1, it's going to be a lot tighter, a lot more time consuming. And anyway, so it's just kind of a tale of, I tried to put that Chinese one on, it just wasn't going to work out. So the pipe size was wrong, and it did not line up. It was about 2 inches off from where the stock exhaust is supposed to be. So anyway, we had to get this one here, which was a couple $100 more, but in the end, you're going to save money and headache and hassle just getting a better one up front. So I think that's about it for a Bank 2 P0430 on a 3.6 Chrysler. This is a Dodge Avenger 2012. I know the Caravans and stuff, you have to pull, I think I had to pull the fan and stuff out on the radiator, but anyway, this covers the 3.6 Dodge Avenger. So hopefully we'll see you on the next one, and as always, God bless.